Hey there, Writer Rebels. It's me, Scarlett Kol, and I'm here to give you some tips on how to deal with bad reviews because they're gonna happen, so you might as well be prepared. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about one of those things that tends to happen once you've released a book, bad reviews. And obviously that's going to be subjective to some people. Some people think a 3-star is an awful review, but those 1-star reviews will definitely rear their ugly heads from time to time. If you like the content that I've been producing, you can always hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get an email when I release the next video. If you have anything that you would like me to talk about, please include it in the comments below and I will try to work it into my schedule. So, reviews. It's one of those necessary evils once you have a book out into the world. You want people to review your book, you want to have good buzz, you want people to be talking about it, but by putting yourself out there, you are letting anybody have an opinion on your work, which also means there are going to be bad opinions out there, whether correct or not. So I'm going to give you some advice on how to deal with this. I briefly mentioned I wanted to do this video in my last video on how to ruin your debut year, Scarlett Kol style. I can link that in the cards above if you're interested. And the one thing I said was to stop worrying about reviews. However, they are going to happen. And like I also said in that video, you're going to see them. Everybody tells you not to look at your reviews. Don't read your reviews. Don't go on Goodreads. Goodreads is the devil, all that kind of thing. But the fact of the matter is you are going to see bad reviews from time to time. You are going to be on your product page and you're going to be checking out your book, or you're going to want to be sending a good review to someone else, or saving it or putting it in some of your press. And you are going to come across a review that is not great. Like I said, it is subjective. So some people do think a 3-star is the end of the world. However, the 1-star is like the holy grail of bad reviews, obviously. And as I started out in my debut year, I did get one of these reviews. I'm sure I got more than one, but they really can hold you back. Writing is a huge mental game. So if you are not in the right headspace to write, it does make it very difficult. And when you do see a bad review, regardless of how many good reviews you have, it can really take a toll on your mental state and how well you continue going forward. It is something that you are going to have to learn to play through that sort of pain, but hopefully with these tips, it will make it a little bit simpler for you to be able to do that. The first thing you should do, obviously, is to try and avoid reading bad reviews. One of the things I suggested in the last video was getting a review buddy that can look at your reviews and let you know if there's anything that needs to be brought to your attention, but then keeps you away from actually reading them yourself. However, the tips that I'm going to be providing are based on the fact that you have already read this review. It is already rolling around in your head like a dangerous bomb threatening to go off. And how are you going to be able to pick yourself up and move on out of this? If you are one of those people where bad reviews doesn't affect you, I am super jealous. And if you could tell me how you can do that in the comments below, I would really appreciate it, because I haven't got there yet. And most of my author friends aren't there yet either. So let's get started on the tips, and hopefully one of them will give you a hand. Number 1, seek the truth. Somebody give you a bad review for a reason. There is the possibility that it's just a troll, and I have actually seen Amazon reviews where the review is not actually related to the project that it's on there. I'm sure everybody's seen the meme where somebody has reviewed a book complaining that it wasn't a package of sausages, I believe. Anyhow, those ones you can totally take with a grain of salt, and they really shouldn't be bothering you much because they aren't actually for your book. However, you can get reviews where they're going to go on and on and on and on for pages about how much they hated your book and this and that and the other thing. You've already read it now. You already know that it's out there and it happens and it's already bothering you. So you might as well at least get the most out of it that you can. What you need to do is dissect that review and figure out what their problem is. Some people just aren't going to like your books. It's going to happen. But maybe there's a particular reason. Maybe they didn't feel your world building was up to snuff. Maybe they didn't like your characters. Maybe it was something personal to them that was triggering. Some of these things you won't be able to fix. If it's something triggering to a person, but it makes sense to the story, you can't fix that. They're not going to like it. There's nothing you can do. But if they are talking about your world building, maybe this is something that you need to sit back and be like, hey, Have I had similar comments, or have I got maybe a 4-star review where something has, not quite been right on world building, or maybe they have a problem with a character? Is their complaint accurate? Maybe they aren't saying it in the nicest way, or maybe they're being overly harsh, but is there a grain of truth in this review? So at the very least, when you walk away from this review, you can at least think maybe it can help you with the next book, especially if it's something in a series. If they have a problem with a particular character, or they have a problem with your world, or something didn't make sense to them, if you're writing a series, you have an opportunity to make that better. Maybe it didn't bother other readers, but maybe it still exists. You can take that information, ask some of your other readers if that bothered them, and maybe they'll be like, yeah, it did, but it didn't take away from the overall bit of the story for me. So then you could take that information, and that's a really good thing to know when you're continuing to write in that world and with those characters, of something that you could fix in book 2 or correct, and make that a better experience for all of your readers going forward. Most people aren't going to go online just to complain without having a reason. Sometimes that reason is totally not valid to you and your writing process and will do nothing for you. But very, very often, if they have spent the time to read the book, one of their complaints that they're going to have is going to have a grain of truth in there that you can pull from that. And since you've already read the review and you've already heard all of their complaints, you might as well see what you can take out of it and turn into a positive. Tip number 2, play my movie music game. It's not really a game. It's more of a mantra you can tell yourself. One of the things when I got my first bad review, I was talking with a person about it, and they actually had kind of come to my rescue, and they said, I saw this review and I felt really bad, so I started looking into all their other reviews, and I wouldn't worry about it because it seems that they're super, super harsh to everybody. It was definitely comforting, and I really appreciated the effort that they put into it. And, part of my brain did feel a little bit vindicated on I was not the only one that they had gone out after. But the one thing that I did say to them, and it came out of my mouth before I actually even really thought it through, and then once I thought about it, I was like, no, this totally makes sense. And I said, if that person were to tell me their 5 favorite movies or their 5 favorite songs, I probably would hate 4 of them. There's a good chance that a person who doesn't connect with your book will never connect with your book because it's not what they like. If they're reading some young adult romance and they're some super hardcore horror gore fan and hates this kind of stuff, it's not going to happen. They are never going to like your book. You could write the best book in the entire world. They're never going to like it because it's not what they enjoy, and that's okay. And once I processed that and actually realized, hey, that really kind of makes sense. Even if you talk to, your husband, your best friend, your boyfriend, your teacher, whoever, not everybody likes the same thing. And once I got through my head that that was all right for them to not like it, and so many people aren't going to like it, that it did actually make me feel a little bit better. Especially some of the comments that were particularly made that they had issues with. These were certain things that other readers really, really enjoyed. That's because those readers like what I'm writing, and not necessarily me, but the genre and the style and all of those sorts of things. This person clearly doesn't like that genre or style, which is fine. But reminding yourself that there are going to be differences and that your book isn't going to be a one-size-fits-all for everyone does actually make a difference and will help make things feel a little bit better. My tip number 3 is to lean on your author or writer friends. Hopefully you do have some author or writer friends. I do want to do a video about 5 reasons why you should have author or writer friends. And if you're interested in that, please let me know in the comments below and I will get that video going. However, if you do have author or writer friends, even if it's just one, talk to them. What I'm saying is, don't put on social media that you're upset. Don't complain to every single person, because a lot of people in your life aren't going to understand what it's like to write a book, what it's like to put yourself out there. And I'm not saying that you're special or anything like that. What I'm saying is it is a very raw and vulnerable experience to do that. And there's only certain things that, there's only certain creative fields. Sometimes athletes tend to understand it. But, you know, talking to the average people in your life, like your friends and all that sort of thing, if they don't understand that world, they're going to give you suggestions that probably don't make a lot of sense. They're going to feel bad for you, which is fantastic. And clearly you have a great support network if those people in your life are going to understand that, you know, this is a bad thing and all that sort of stuff. But you need to come at it from a business perspective and talk to people who understand that sort of thing. Your author friends, your writer friends may be very good at helping you dissecting it and seeking the truth, as I gave in my first tip. And they also may be able to read it and go through there and go and be able to pull out things that maybe they read worse to you than they really were. Obviously, nobody likes to take criticism of their own work. So sometimes when you read something, especially if it's being posted as opposed to being said to you, there's no tone of voice. There's no context on those sorts of things. So maybe you are taking this a lot harsher than you should be, or maybe the first line of the review wasn't great, but the rest of it was actually okay. And now you've tainted how you read it because of that first line. So relying on your author or writer friends can be a crucial thing to do, because not only can they help talk you down, sometimes they have other experiences that they can give you. They can give you other recommendations on how to, you know, how to deal with it, and then it's going to be okay, and can help dissect that review with you. Like I said, I have some great people in my life who are extremely supportive, but one of the things I have a problem with is when I talk about books, they don't understand some of the marketing that goes into it. They don't understand certain protocols that people in the author community actually follow, because they would deal with this issue in a completely different way. So, you know, relying on people that understand where you're coming from, understand the ramifications of every action that you take in that world, can have a huge positive impact on picking yourself back up again. And they might also have other recommendations, or they can also help with accountability of checking in on you and making sure that you're okay. And, you know, that project that you're working on right now, are you getting your stuff done? And if you aren't, you know, can I talk you through it? Can I help you through it? And providing that support network in the way that you need it. Tip number 4, do not respond to bad reviews. I do hear mixed things about this, and I'm going to preface this with, this is my suggestion, you don't have to follow it, is to not respond to bad reviews. I have had people with good experiences. I had a friend who somebody gave a bad review because of bad grammar. She responded and apologized, and this person is actually a beta reader of hers now. So sometimes you can get positive things out of that. But honestly, the majority of the time, if the person did not connect with your book, they may not connect with your book ever, regardless of how you explain it to them. Also, you don't know who else is going to read that response. As I said before, when you see things written, there's no context, there's no tone of voice. They have no idea where you're coming from with that. And if you come off angry or standoffish or something like that, this could have a bad impact on readers that actually enjoy your work and like you, because they're seeing you as behaving badly. How many celebrities have we seen out there where, you know, they've done something badly and it has negatively impacted people going to watch their movies, or people listening to their music, or people buying their products, because they get this impression of that person from that one thing that happened, and they will hold it through and color the rest of their work and the rest of the things that they're doing by that one incident. So you don't want to be that person that somebody is, you know, scanning through those reviews because they want to get an idea about this new book and what they think about it, and seeing some comment from you that comes off the wrong way, and then somebody that could have been a really big fan of yours is now completely turned off because of something that you said to somebody else, whether you were right or whether you were wrong. If you follow any of the author communities and stuff on social media, you will constantly see things about authors behaving badly. And one of the things that comes up very often are authors that respond to reviews and don't do it well. If you are not really good with public relations, I would suggest just not saying anything. Sometimes that can be extremely difficult. I had a review one time where I totally wanted to respond, or I've actually had reviews where the information in the book is, the information that they have quoted is completely wrong. They've said about something in the book that either didn't happen, or basically were incorrect about something that was in the book, and they're saying it wasn't there, but it totally is because I can provide proof. But I'm not going to do that, because putting that person on the spot isn't going to help anything. They didn't like my book. End point. They probably won't like my next book because maybe this isn't their genre for them. And if I rub them the wrong way, it's not going to help anything. The other thing is, you can also open yourself up to serious abuse on the internet. There are so many times where I have seen authors that will respond to reviews and that person will not take it well and they will get attacked. I know it's a really, really sad state of affairs, but it does happen. And do you want to be that author where, you wake up to a swarm of 1-star reviews because you made somebody very, very angry with your response and they have retaliated by getting their friends and family to badly review your book? So you don't want to put yourself into that position. There isn't any reason to be in that position. Like I said, people are allowed to have their own opinions. They're allowed to not like your book. My personal way I deal with books is, if I have a bad review to give to somebody, I just don't. If I'm going to give less than a 3-star, I just don't review the book, because not having reviews on the book is almost more damaging than having 1-star reviews, because then at least means people are reading it. So I will not give a review if I know I'm going to be going less than 3-star. And even if I am giving a 3-star review, a good practice is to try and include why it didn't work for me. So, I read this book, but I'm not really, if you were into time travel mysteries with dinosaurs, this could totally be your jam, but I really didn't connect with that. Or, I didn't connect with this character, and why. By being able to provide that information to the author, first off, if they do come across it, they will be able to seek the truth and figure out what they've done wrong. Plus, it definitely adds some credibility to your review, that not only did you read it, but you took some time to think about why you didn't like it. However, I'm not going to tell people how to review books. I'm just excited when people do. So I don't want to stop anybody from reviewing a book. Simply, they could be putting something as 4 stars. I liked it. That's great. It doesn't provide a lot to the author, but really, it's not for them anyway. So, I don't want to discourage anybody from reviewing books, but my recommendation would be, do not respond to bad reviews if you can avoid it. Stop, think about it, really, really think about it. Go back to those writer and author friends, tell them what you're planning to do, and then probably don't. And tip number 5 is to just let it in. Fact of the matter is, bad reviews happen. Bad reviews sting like hell. So let it happen, but give yourself a deadline. If you're going to be upset about it, be upset about it. Give yourself 24 hours. I get 24 hours to eat as much ice cream as I want, to whine about it to my friends, to complain about it, to be upset about it, to cry if I need to write a nasty response on paper that I am never going to send to somebody just to make myself feel better. Do whatever it is you need to let those bad feelings in. Let it upset you, but then give yourself a deadline of, by tomorrow at 5 o'clock, I'm not allowed to be upset about this anymore. You may still be slightly upset about it, but just forcing yourself into the, I'm going to let myself be upset, and then I'm going to move forward and do better and move on with my life. That is one of the best tips that I can give you, because it does hurt, and ignoring that it hurts isn't going to do anything. It's still going to hurt, and then you're going to keep trying to block that down and to put on a smile and pretend it doesn't hurt, because it does. It sucks. It sucks really hard. So if you let that in, let yourself be upset, scream and cry and throw things, and then go, okay, I'm done, and move forward. You will be so much better for it. All right, so that's my 5 tips on how to deal with a bad review. If you have any other suggestions, you can include them in the comments below. Or if you've tried any of these tips and they have or haven't worked for you, I would love to hear about it. If you liked the content that I'm providing, please hit the subscription bar and the notification bell to let you know when the next time I have a video. If you have any other comments, I would love to hear from you. And if you did like this video, hit that thumbs up. All right, until next week, see you later, Writer Rebels.